Hello family, good morning and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here and you're seeing this channel for the first time, my name is Haoma_KE and welcome back to another countryside vlog. I'm just drying out some pea seeds or peas that I harvested the other day. So I just want them to dry up so that I can use the seeds for planting for next year. So I'll be plucking the peas as they dry up in the farm. So welcome to another countryside vlog. So please make sure that you have liked this video just to support the video and also the channel, because the more you like the video, it makes the YouTube to send my video to so many subscribers or so many people on YouTube. So I just want to get some breakfast here in the farm, and today I want to harvest some groundnuts. And there are two types of groundnuts. There are the ones that are very big and there are ones that are tiny. So the ones that I always plant here in my farm and do well are the tiny ones. So this part of the farm, they are not ready yet. The groundnuts are not ready yet. They'll be ready, I think, the end of December or mid-December. That's when they'll be ready. But these ones now, I planted them on August, in August, and right now they are ready to be harvested. And the way you know when it is ready is by the leaves start drying up, and sometimes they turn yellow. So that's when you know they are dry. And if you delay, you can see one of them had started germinating, especially if there is a lot of rain. So they will start now germinating. So if you realize that they have matured, the best way to do it is just to harvest them. So I did a detailed video on how to plant groundnuts, and I was just explaining that the best time to plant groundnuts is from July. They do well when you plant them in July or latest September. So when you delay, like I think these mine that are still on the farm, they will not do as well as these ones that I've planted, because during the fruiting season there was a lot of rain for these ones that I'm harvesting. But the other ones during the fruiting season, which was I think end of October and November, but I think they are just okay. But I'll be checking them out to see their progress, and I'll show you guys. So groundnuts, the smaller ones, that the ones that we plant here, take around 3 months. The 4th month you're supposed to start harvesting. But the bigger ones take longer, like 6 months. So that's why we always plant the smaller ones. And they're also sweet. Here we prefer the smaller ones because their taste is a little bit different from the bigger ones. The bigger ones, the supermarkets love them, because in the supermarkets most of the time you find them being sold. But the smaller ones, sometimes you rarely get them. But I always feel like the smaller ones have a better taste than the bigger ones. And last year I planted a lot of groundnuts because I harvested like a sack, and I sold most of the groundnuts. So because a sack, 190 kg sack is a lot of groundnuts for me. So but this year I didn't plant as much as I expected, because by the time I wanted to plant in July, the maize was still on the farm. So that's why I planted just a smaller section of the farm, and the other ones I waited to remove the maize. That's when I planted now. The ones that you're seeing are not yet mature. But these ones that I've harvested, this land was still bare or empty, so it didn't have any crop. So I just decided to plant them immediately. But my mom is a serious groundnut farmer. She plants a lot of groundnuts, like a whole acre of groundnuts. So she's the one that teaches me on when to plant, how to take care of it, because If you're not so careful with maintaining or taking care of groundnuts, you will harvest zero groundnuts because they always flower. The flowers are the ones that turn to groundnuts. So anytime you see a flower, you're supposed to cover it with soil. I think I explained it. I explained it better when I did the other video while I was I think weeding the groundnuts. I'll try and look for that video and pin it down in the description box. So make sure you always cover it with soil, because the more you cover it with soil, it means it will produce more groundnuts just from one groundnut tree. Do you say a tree or a crop? Plant, groundnut plant. So that's how you maintain or make sure that you produce more groundnuts in a very small field or an area. So we use groundnuts in so many things. So we roast groundnuts, use it in taking it with tea, and sometimes we put it in porridge. We grind or take it to the portion mill and use it in our porridge flour. So also we just grind the raw groundnuts, and then we use it in cooking vegetables. Very common here. You can go to any market, any mama mboga, and you'll always find that they're always selling from, I think, 10 shillings to 20, I think 20 shillings per tablespoon. So, or tablespoon, or yeah, tablespoon. So it's very common here. And also we make peanut butter. Those who know, I always make my own peanut butter here at home. I'll also do a video on how to make peanut butter. It's very easy, especially when you have your own groundnuts. It's very cheap and very easy. So those are the ways of using groundnuts. That's why we always plant here groundnuts, and I think our soil does well for groundnuts, because we produce a lot of groundnuts from this area, and also from our neighboring country, which is Uganda. They produce a lot of groundnuts. So I do not want to go with all this dirt on the other side of the home or the house. So I just want to remove the groundnuts from the plant, so that it will be easier for me to clean them and also to dry them. Groundnuts are very easy to be maintained, so long as there is no much rain and they have fully matured. The only thing you always do is just remove them from the main crop and then keep it like this, and it will stay for some time. And if you want to save, like if you see the bigger ones, if you want to save seeds, you make sure you get a groundnut that has produced like 3 or 4 in one of it. That will be a very good seed. It will produce a lot of groundnuts. So like for me, you see some groundnuts have 3 inside, 4 inside, some have 2, some have 1. So those that have 1, you eat. But those that have 4 and 3, you remove them from the husk, or you keep them until the time you're going to start planting. Then you remove them from the husk, and then you plant. That is a very good seed for planting. So the remaining ones, I just want to mulch. You know, we are in a dry season, so mulching is very important for your crops. And because here I do organic farming, I depend on just what I have here in the farm to mulch and what I have to produce organic manure. So that's what I always do. So I'm done with the harvesting. Let me go and make some breakfast so that I can take. Right now it's a little bit late. It's around 10:30, so it will be late breakfast. Most of the kids, my kids have already taken breakfast, so it's just for me. I'm not an early bird breakfast taker, so anytime I can take my tea. So, if you farm your own groundnuts, it is very common here. Like right now in the market, you'll always find people selling the boiled groundnuts in the market. So it is very common, especially during this season, because most of the time groundnuts are harvested from end of November to December. So you'll always find somebody selling the boiled groundnuts. So I just want to wash mine thoroughly. Make sure you wash it until all the soil has gone. And the beauty about today, it didn't rain yesterday. I think for the last 3 days it has not rained, so it does not have a lot of soil. If it was during the rainy season, it will be having a lot of mud and soil. So I'm just going to let wash it, I think 3 or 4 washes, and then boil. So just stay tuned and see how it will turn out. After 4 washes, your groundnut will be clean, super clean, and then it will be time now to start boiling. The other groundnuts, I'll remove them from the husk or just dry them and take them anytime I want. I can decide to roast them or just use them for porridge, because I still have some groundnuts from last year. So the ones that I'll be harvesting this time round, I'll just keep them. And because here sometimes groundnuts are very expensive in the market, that's why you see me planting my own groundnuts, just to save some coin. Boiling groundnuts is very easy, super easy. Just make sure you've washed your groundnuts very well. Put inside a pot, put fire, and then some water, some salt, and cover it and let it boil well for some time. If it doesn't boil well, when you're eating, you will feel like you're eating raw groundnuts. But here it is very common to see people eating raw groundnuts. But for me, I don't take raw groundnuts. So just let it boil, and then after it has boiled, it will be ready to be eaten. After a few minutes, our groundnuts are ready. So let me serve and take some tea with groundnuts. Super amazing. So if you haven't seen someone boiling groundnuts and this is your first time, so this is how we take advantage of our groundnuts here in the farm. So you can either roast, you can either boil, you can either grind and use it for vegetables. You can either roast and then use it in your porridge, or you can even use it in your soup. You can make your groundnut paste, very common in our neighboring country, Uganda. So very common. So those are the different ways you can use groundnuts. Don't be boring. So let me take my tea and then I will see you later. So that is it for us today. See you in my next video. Bye bye.